To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So as you know, Carolyn and I are trying to figure out how to feed our chickens at very low food cost. Our chickens are, what, 6 months old, 5 months old, something around there. And we've only spent $2.50 to feed them since we brought them home, per chicken. Now, that being said, when we first brought them home, it was still real cold out and they were eating a lot of food. Now they're starting to eat the grass and being free-ranged and that kind of thing. Well, Carolyn has been trying to find methods of reducing the cost of feeding our chickens. And one of the ways she has done that is she'll take sunflower seeds, and then she also does this with the grains from the chicken feed itself, you know, the Milo and different things. She puts in a bottle and waters it, and then in a few days it sprouts. So she's taken a handful of seeds and made a full container of chicken food. Now, sunflower seeds are quite expensive, and so if you give them chickens just straight sunflower seeds, your costs are going to go through the roof. But if you do it this way, she feeds it to them once a day, and they barely even touch their chicken food after they eat that, and they free range all day. We could go a week without having to give them food doing this. Now, like I said, she also does it with the chicken food. Now, that takes a lot of effort, and I feel bad when she does it, but she seems to enjoy it. But she literally separates the corn and the Milo or whatever else is in there, and that way she can grow the corn separately. And so she's been experimenting with the corn, and she's getting corn to grow also. Again, corn's not very expensive, but if you can amplify the amount of food that you're going to produce, then you're going to reduce your cost. So right now, we're waiting for our pressure canners to arrive. This is on the UPS truck right now, I think. Or maybe it's FedEx. FedEx, I never trust FedEx. If it's UPS, it's not so bad. FedEx, sometimes they'll say it's out for delivery when it's not. Carolyn has had an idea with this corn. We don't know if it's hybrid corn or if it's heirloom corn. We don't know. It just comes in the chicken feed. So she's been separating that out. That being said, I know for a fact that chickens love corn stalks. Not only do they love the seed, they love the corn stalks. So what she decided to do was amplify our production rate of our chicken feed, reducing our cost. So not only is she raising this in the bottle and then giving that to the chickens, she wants to plant this. Now that she knows it grows, so you can see the green in there, it's growing. See if we can get corn stalks out of that. Then in the wintertime, when there's not anything to really free range, we can throw the corn stalks into the chicken coop and they'll eat the corn stalk. It's like hay for the chickens. So today I got to go down and I got to prepare a strip of property so she has a place to grow it. Okay, so she wants to plant the corn in this area here. The problem with this area is, as of a few months ago, this thing was completely overgrown with cedar trees. You can see that I've cut all the cedar trees down. But right here has two benefits. This is the only spot in our yard that gets all day sun because I cleared out the cedar trees. The other side, you'll notice, has woods. So about 7 a.m. though, the sun is shining on this. It's the best spot in the yard. Carolyn, I think, is one day going to move her garden up to here, I think. I also, if I ever get another set of solar panels, I think I'm going to put them up here also. I know you're going to say, why don't you move them up here now? Because it would just be a large investment to have to move them this far away from the camper. That being said, I'm not hurting with power. I got plenty of power being produced already. So now that she's going to grow her corn, then we can take the stalks, we'll put them in the camper, which is now basically our shed, and we can let that dry out and give it to the chickens in the wintertime. The problem is it's just full of roots. I think you probably can see that root there. And she wants me to get rid of this root here. So I got to figure out a way to get that out with limited tools and limited amount of work. I don't want to work myself to death on this. So what I'm going to try to do on my first attempt is cut using this. I've done this before, digging it in the ground. And I'm hoping that I can cut this. Then I'm going to try to take the lawnmower. I'm going to pull the root out. That's my plan. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to figure out something else. it's looking pretty hopeful. I was able to move that around quite a bit with the saw. You can see this lifting up. I think the lawnmower should be able to do that. Okay, so I've made my rope, or my strap, long enough that I can get the chains of the tire chains, into the grass. I think if I did it here in the mud, I'd just spin a lot. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to put a 5-gallon bucket of water in my bucket holder here. That'll give me some additional weight on the rear end, and that should push me down to get better traction. We'll see. I don't think this is going to be a big deal, but we'll give it a try. So my first attempt broke it. So I'm going to try to reanalyze what I'm going to do here. I got a tire rim right there. I'm thinking maybe if I can put the strap over the tire rim and let the tire rim roll, that it would give us some lift. So I'm going to try that next. Okay, the tire rim worked out well. I didn't record it. I forgot to hit the button. But what I'm seeing is every time it hits an offshoot like this, it breaks. So I'm making progress, and it's definitely not that hard of work. So that was my main objective, not killing myself with a shovel all day. So I'm going to give this another try again. I got the tire rim in a location. When it starts to pull, that tire rim rolls a little bit and gives it lift. That worked! Haha! Had to interrupt the root pulling process because it's time to feed the chickens, and this is the daily snacks that they get every day. So what you'll see here, the chickens are going crazy. So what you see here is the sunflower seeds right here, and this is the mesh I was telling you about. The mesh is chicken scratch fermented for 3 days, and then after 3 days, Carolyn mixes in the crumbles. That soaks up the rest of the water. These guys love this stuff. And you'll see Frenchie immediately start scratching it and throwing it on the ground. We've decided that we have to have 2 plates because they start to fight over it. Now see, this is why we always thought Frenchie was a male. He sits there with the other male, or she. We think it's a she. We really do. We've kind of come to the conclusion that it's a she. But she stands right up to those roosters. Whereas the other hens, they come over to the other plate. They don't, see, you'll see that one way in the back. She'll wait until they scratch it in her direction. She doesn't get involved. But this is their snack for the day. And it really does reduce the cost of feed doing it this way. See, Frenchie just bullies her way into everything. We finally got the little chicks to liking it. It took them a few days before they would eat it. Carolyn was actually not feeding it to them because they were wasting it. And by the time the big chickens are done, they want to come over here and they try to get in through, they're separated by this green netting. And so the big ones would try to get in here to get their food, but now they're starting to eat it. So I got the root out. It really was not that hard to do. They say you gotta work smarter, not harder. Well, I don't know if this was smarter, but I definitely know it wasn't very hard. It took 2 or 3 tries to get it up, but it was well worth it. There's been a lot of people tell me that I need a tractor. Since I started living off-grid, and I just don't think I'm ever gonna buy a tractor. I mean, maybe one of these days when I'm super rich, you know, I might get one, but I don't see the reason in it. I mean, it'd be nice, but you can do a lot of things with these little lawnmowers. You can buy snow blades and lift buckets and different things. I'm under the philosophy that I could buy, what, 10, 15 lawnmowers for the same price as a tractor. And I don't do a lot of heavy work with it. I don't see myself doing a lot of heavy work with it. You saw me pulling some logs and transporting heavy things, but nothing that it can't handle. I've done this. I used to have an old Murray lawnmower that I worked to death. I had it for 10 years and it was still running just like it was new before I got rid of it. It had a snow blade and a big trailer that I filled up regularly, hauled dirt with. But anyway, you can see that I got that root out. That's 2 pieces there split in half. So now we'll be able to plant some corn over here. But really the key to the lawnmower is making sure that you can get traction. It really has a lot of horsepower. I know my grandpa had a compact tractor, I think is what they call them. Yeah, and it was a Ford. It had a lift bucket and a 3-point hitch, the whole deal. And I think it only had like 20 horsepower. And of course this one's like 18, 17 and a half, 18 horsepower. So, I mean, the horsepower's there. The gear ratio is a little different, obviously. But as long as you get traction, you can get a lot of pull out of it. Got to be careful you don't rip out the transmission, but you can replace transmissions if you have to. Like I said, the repair cost and the replacement cost far exceeds buying a compact tractor. So I hope I can inspire you to work smarter, not harder, when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.